We're here in Nashville, Tennessee, and we're at the DISRUPT23 conference. And today I have the pleasure of having Brad Peterson of Workspot. Can you tell us a little bit about the company and what you do at Workspot?
Yeah, sure. Well, I've been in the EUC industry for a long time here. Before Workspot, and I've been at Workspot for 7 years, I was actually at DocuSign for 2 years, and before that at Citrix for 10 years. So, I know this space really well. In those days, it was all about VDI and delivering on-prem in the data center to the users around the world, and certainly we did that globally, and it was an amazing experience. I actually left there because I really wanted to figure out the world of cloud, and so I went to a company called DocuSign, right? DocuSign's amazing because they have 60,000 new users a day joining and signing all around the world. So I totally went to school on cloud. The whole notion of the architecture in engineering and product and sales, marketing, just the whole concept of it globally. And I found from that point that Amitabh Sinha, who had left Citrix earlier, had created a company called Workspot. And amazingly enough, he actually left to create the company because it was a full cloud-based, VDI sort of next generation system. So of course today we call it Cloud PC. But the brokering, management, monitoring, all that system was never on-prem. It was never a monolithic piece of software. It was always microservices-based, cloud-native, and only in the cloud. That's the only way it was. So I couldn't believe it. I took my VDI experience for 10 years and my couple of years at DocuSign with all that cloud education and combined it into this world of Workspot. So I have been at Workspot for about 7 years now, and it's been an amazing journey. And I actually got a couple of slides here that'll actually walk us through that journey. It kind of tells that story in time.
Great. Maybe before that, we could talk a little bit about how you guys are partnered with iGel and how do you guys work together with them?
Yeah, it's amazing. Here we are at the iGel conference, and it's a great conference because it really brings all the EUC powerhouses shoulder to shoulder here, so a customer can come here and visit, and they should, as well as partners, and they can walk booth to booth to booth and ask every single one of the EUC vendors, what is it that you do? How are you different? What is it, the value that you bring? And how do you work with iGel, right? Mm-hmm. And it's funny because tomorrow, Mark Templeton, ex-CEO of Citrix, who's now chairman of the board at Workspot, is actually giving the keynote, the closing keynote. And in the closing keynote, he actually talks about the future of VDI, modernizing into Cloud PC, and then what comes next in the future, making it ubiquitous and running everywhere. And you can kind of just plug into it wherever you are. And what do you plug into it? Well, you plug a cloud appliance into it. So the cloud appliance, that appliance device, is iGel. And iGel is amazing because they've morphed to a software-only company now, right? So they've got the hardware vendors underneath them, Lenovo, HP, and all the hardware platforms that you can actually pick. They're a software company, so that's great. Workspot's the same way. We're actually a cloud PC company, and you can deliver those virtual machines running on any cloud that's out there. So it could be on Azure, AWS, it could be on GCP, any cloud with Workspot and any piece of hardware with iGel, and click the two together, and then you have virtualization of applications and desktops for all sorts of use cases globally around the world.
Now, didn't you guys just have an announcement here at the show recent? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we have this great announcement, and we haven't announced it yet, but I guess I'm announcing it now, huh? And yeah, no, it's okay. It's a story where we're in private meeting rooms with a lot of customers and partners and telling them all about it. But tomorrow morning in the general session, our CEO, Amitabh Sinha, who's here, is actually going to announce the notion of global desktop, okay? So the Workspot global desktop. So what's that? Well, hey, that's where Workspot, as a cloud control plane, can actually deliver desktops or applications in on-prem as well as in Azure or AWS or GCP. So imagine your primary desktop is even on-prem, on vSphere, let's say. But we can set it up so that your backup, your alternative, is in an entirely different cloud. It could be in Azure. And so when you click, a single icon on your Workspot client, it will go to your primary desktop unless it's not there. And if it's not there, it'll automatically fail over to where your secondary or alternative desktop is. And by the way, that can go on and on. So you could have primary is in prem, secondary is actually in Azure, tertiary is in GCP, and so on and so on. And so you get to a point where you get all sorts of nines, 9, 9.999, and so on. because as you're clicking a single link, it will find your desktop and pull your profile in and then attach your network drive so you have everything that you need. So Global Desktop not only delivers a desktop in case of a failure, an entire cloud failure, but it also can be used if you're that traveling executive going off into Europe or into Japan or Asia where you need, less latency to your desktop. It'll actually migrate and move it for you while you're there and still have an alternative in case that one goes down as well. You really get to this point where you have sort of a never fail desktop. It's a global desktop. It's always ready for you when you're ready for it in any part of the world. That's the announcement.
Sorry to put you on the spot with that, but it sounds pretty amazing.
Oh yeah.
Now you mentioned that you had some slides. Maybe we could take a look at what you have.
Yeah. Instead of a live demo, because live demos are pretty straightforward. You pull a few devices out of your pockets and you connect to a user experience, and those are all pretty much the same. There's a desktop and there's an application and so forth. So that's pretty cool, right? And then what's interesting though is the demo of a control admin. We have a single admin control browser-based experience that allows you to control on-prem VMs as well as all three clouds all at the same time from the same place, all right? So I'm not going to show you that. That's pretty straightforward, but I'll just tell you a little bit about the company here. As you can see from this slide, as I mentioned, Amitabh Sinha, ex-Citrix, he is the CEO and has been. He's the co-founder, and this has been for 7, 8, 9 years now. Mark Templeton in the last 4 or 5 years has joined us, and now he's chairman of the board at Workspot. So to give you a super quick preview of what Workspot is, because folks are here at the show and they want to know what are you all about and how are you different, right? Well, the idea is this: Workspot cloud native, as you can see here, delivering cloud PCs and cloud apps, globally around the world. Scales, it's totally cloud native, auto scaling, auto healing as well, and of course when you have an architecture like this, now it's truly multi-tenant. So you can have all these customers coming in here, kind of like Salesforce.com. They don't build out a new environment when there's a new customer. You click into their multi-tenant environment, and that's the same as we have here. Now, years ago, the other clouds weren't ready to host the VMs yet, so we would drop them on-prem in vSphere, and that's what this is, an on-prem box with some users there as well. Now look at this. This is the control plane. So the Workspot control plane comes in, connects into 3 areas. It connects into the hypervisor to actually spin up the actual VM. It connects into the gateway to actually define how the end users will connect to this, and then it connects into the client. Now the client is an intelligent client, and so when that person clicks that icon, it will actually intelligently and automatically connect right into the gateway and the VM the user needs to connect to. It doesn't go to the cloud anymore, right? The control plane is separated from the data plane, so those data elements and traffic are totally separate. It increases your level of security as well as your level of productivity, which is a major thing. Now, if you have users that are outside the office, which of course we do, the control plane configures those clients, and the client is either a Workspot native Windows, Mac, iOS, or Android client that installs, or it's a browser-based client based on PWA. A super fast and brilliant, nice power, great performance, browser-based experience as well. Those users will connect in, and since we're doing that on-prem, we can do that in Azure. Now we're doing that in GCP, and again, another announcement we have here is to support the AWS Workspaces core environment that Workspot is now supporting as well. All right, so you can see, that's the architecture there. It is on-prem and in the cloud all at the same time. It is apps, desktops, hosted shared desktops, persistent, non-persistent, the whole story. We've got all these different use cases that are supported, and it's a consumption-based model, so you can go hourly, monthly, annual, however you want to set this up for your business and for your use case. And by the way, you should never do this unless you can monitor all this also, okay? And so these are the other 2 products that we're sharing at this show, and that is Workspot Watch, which is doing real-time monitoring across all those elements I talked before. It's tapped into the agent that's running on the VM. It's connected into the gateway. It's connected into the client, and it's tapping into all that for utilization, bandwidth, response rates, connectivity issues, and so forth. Maps it around the world for all of our users and all of our customers and all of our tenants and those end users, and we can see this in real time. Our support organization sees this to be very responsive, and now our customers are tapped into it too for their end users. And the box below that is Workspot Trends. That's sampling data and storing it away for a year so you can look at trend analysis. So if a customer or an end user has an issue and they tell you, they click on their survey that comes up when they end their session, and they say there's a problem, they submit it, that goes in at that moment in time, and you can go into trends, a week later and see all the CPU and the network traffic that was happening then to correlate the data and then know exactly, what had happened. Now this is the announcement that we made with the global desktop. As I said before, it allows you to do always available and travel anywhere. And again, just a reminder, with Workspot and that cloud control plane, we can drop this on-prem as well as the clouds, and we do this around the world. We have a lot of customer use cases that actually allow us to put this in 7, 8, 9 regions around the world with hundreds or thousands of desktops in those regions in multiple clouds for those folks wherever they might be. Come and see us if you're here at the show, because we're doing a boot camp later today at 4 o'clock and another one tomorrow at 10 a.m. And beyond that, you can always reach me at brad@workspot.com to hear more about the architecture itself. And the last takeaway I would give you is that in a world that exists today where VDI is on-prem and the resources are there as well, the way we talk about modernizing those is actually a multi-step process, like 45 days of swapping out the control plane so you're not installing any more of those bits or maintaining those at all, and keeping the VMs on-prem. That's fine, that's great. And then another step of saying, hey, wait a minute, 45 more days, and wait, I could actually get my VMs in the cloud also. And I could do this as an and/or. We could do these all at the same time. And remember, Workspot is a single cloud that allows you to straddle on-prem and in the cloud all at the same time. You don't have to choose one over the other. It allows you to do that VDI modernization journey in the most flexible way possible.
Well, that's incredible. Well, I want to thank you for taking the time to speak with VMblog today, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Absolutely. Thank you much. Hope everyone's having a great time here. Hope to talk soon. Bye-bye.